Okay. Now we have a guy who was convicted for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. His name is Brandon Straka. Comes to us from D.C. He got a pardon. Initially, he pled guilty to disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, October 2021. Received 36 months probation, including 3 months home detention, $5,000 fine, $500 restitution. You do not believe you were treated fairly in this case. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah, absolutely not.
In a nutshell, don't go in the weeds. What was unfair?
Well, the details of my case weren't true. So important for people to know, I didn't enter the Capitol on January 6th. I was outside of the east side of the building for 8 minutes shooting a video. So there are 4 major details of my case that were blatant fabrications by the FBI and DOJ. One was that I entered into a restricted area of Capitol grounds and knew that the area was restricted, but did it anyway. When I arrived at Capitol grounds, and by the way, I was a scheduled speaker at a permitted event on Capitol grounds. So not the area where I was, but on an outer area of the grounds, I was supposed to be a speaker. But I started getting text messages saying that something was happening at the Capitol and people were going inside. So I started shooting a video and I approached the Capitol from the east side. The barricades at the time were fully open. There were no signs indicating that people were not allowed to be there. There were literally 0 police officers on the east side of the building when I was there. And there was a crowd of thousands of people standing outside. So I walked up the open sidewalk and into a crowd of thousands of people. And this is when, according to the DOJ, I committed my first felony. So they charged me with a felony charge of occupying restricted grounds. In other words, a trespassing felony outside of the Capitol. But then I walked to the top of the stairs. And when I got to the top of the stairs, the doors on the east side of the Capitol were open. There were a crowd of several hundred people. Some were trying to push their way in. The majority, like me, were standing outside shooting a video. I stood outside of the building for 8 minutes shooting a video. And then a man came out of the building, got on a bullhorn and said, "They've cleared Congress. Everyone's left the building. Move out, move out." And I immediately turned around and I left. And then I uploaded that video that I had just shot to Twitter. 2.5 weeks later, I was raided by the FBI. A team of agents in tactical gear came into my apartment, began stripping it of computers, phones, hard drives, iPads, etc., put me in handcuffs and took me to jail and told me I was facing multiple felony charges for what I had done.
Let me stop you there. So you never went inside the Capitol building?
I did not enter the Capitol on January 6th.
All right. You were outside. All right.
Correct.
So they come in and they arrest you. Now, you hired an attorney, guy named Stuart Dornan, right?
Correct.
Now, did you have to pay for him?
I did. I had a private attorney.
Okay. And what did he tell you when you hired him?
So when I met with my attorney, what he had told me was that I was facing multiple felonies, but that he had had a conversation with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor told him that they were open to dropping the felony charges if I was willing to plead guilty to a misdemeanor. The problem with that, I mean, besides the fact that I assert that I wasn't even guilty of a misdemeanor charge, unless perhaps you wanted to say I was in a restricted area and I was in the wrong place, fine. But the problem is they didn't leave it at that. What they said was that I stood outside of the building shouting, "Go, go, go," to encourage people to go into the building, and that I witnessed the crowd taking a shield from an officer, and that I shouted, take it," to encourage the crowd.
Do they have videotape of that?
No.
Okay, that was just the allegation. But I'm interested in what your attorney told you, and then we'll get it. I'm not doubting your story. I want all my viewers and listeners. I'm not doubting Brandon's story at all. But I want to walk through the process so that everybody understands what you guys went through. Okay. So
absolutely.
Dornan is your lawyer. You're paying Dornan out of your own pocket. And the government says, okay, plea it down, which happens all the time. Does Dornan recommend you plea it down?
A lawyer really can't recommend anything. What a lawyer can tell you is these are your options, and this is what I think.
My lawyers recommend, Brandon, all the time. Do this, do that, do this, do that. I don't know about this guy, but you're telling that he was neutral on this? He didn't say plea it down or fight it? He didn't give you one of the two?
What he told me was that we could fight it all the way to the end if we wanted to, but we both knew, and I didn't need to be told, that we were going before a DC judge and a DC jury in a very biased political case, and that the likelihood of being successful at trial was very, very small.
But they didn't have hard evidence of what they were accusing you of, which is inciting a riot. Go with it. There's no evidence at all in discovery. Dornan didn't find anything like that. It was no smoking gun, to use a cliche. Is that correct?
Well, there was no smoking gun, but when I stood outside the building and I filmed, my camera captured somebody grab a shield from one officer who walked by, and you could hear voices in the background shouting, "Take it, take it." It's quite
but
obvious.
It wasn't your voice.
The voices were not mine.
Okay.
I didn't.
All right. And again, I'm believing you. I'm like the Ghostbusters. All right. I'm believing you. All right. So you sign the guilty plea and it's disorderly conduct, and then you have to go through a 3-month ordeal, a 3-year ordeal of probation, of home confinement, of fines. All right. Do you regret signing that guilty plea now?
Yes, I don't think I would have changed, because to me, I've always said it wasn't a question of how do I win and how do I lose. When you're going up against the government, the question is, how do you lose the least? For me, the only path forward to lose the least and to come out of this with some of my life intact was to plead guilty to the misdemeanor charge, which I do not believe.
You wouldn't do it again. If in hindsight, you would have fought it.
If your question is, would I take the plea deal again? The answer is yes.
You would take it again. All right. So for you, President Trump's pardon is A, legitimate, B, a kindness. Would that be accurate?
I'm sorry, Bill, I'm having trouble with my signal. Could you repeat what you said?
For you, President Trump's pardon was a kindness.
I would say that Trump's pardon, yes, I would describe it as a kindness, but I think that it was a level of justice for all of us, because I think what a lot of people don't understand is the punishment that all of us have faced that has gone even outside of the judicial branch. I mean, the brutality that all of us have faced for January 6th goes far beyond what we were sentenced to. We were all placed on terrorism watch lists. We were all mass deplatformed and debanked and removed from every big tech platform that you can imagine. We had to fly with air marshals on our flights. We were treated like domestic terrorists and insurrectionists for 4 years.
Do you blame the Biden administration for that?
I'm sorry, do I?
Do you blame the Biden administration for that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm glad you got the pardon. I think you deserve the pardon. I wrote almost exactly what you said, Brandon, on BillO'Reilly.com yesterday. I hope you go and read it. And this is the first time we've ever talked. Okay?
That's right.
I said what they did was they terrorized these people on January 6th, the Merrick Garland Justice Department. For all of that, that's legit for what President Trump did. And we appreciate it. You're going to have, I hope, a very happy and productive life going forward. You're a young guy. If you ever need any help, or you find that anything is inhibiting your life due to this, you call us immediately, and we'll help you. Okay?
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
All right, Brandon. Okay, so I want to give fair coverage to this, and I think I have. And Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com.